Welcome back to Stick Patrol. Today we're going to talk about climate change and we're going to talk about the end of the world. Yay! This is today's topic. I am happy to say that this will be interesting and I hope you will enjoy what I have to say. So, we all know that climate is in trouble, and even if there are all kinds of suggestion about what affects this, we all pretty much know the basics. We are burning stuff that's not supposed to be burned, and that makes the entire atmosphere change. And as the atmosphere changes, so does the climate. That's the basic, that's all we have to know. But I want to get into something more interesting to begin with. This is the end of the world! Now, we have all heard this several times. We need to change things or life will be extinct. That's not the truth. It's very simply not the truth. Even if we do not stop this climate change, even if we mess this up even more than we have, it's very, very likely that life will survive. But the question is, will we survive? That's more unlikely. So if we are not going to confuse the end of the world with the end of humanity, we need to, straighten out some facts. This planet is unstable. Sometimes we think that everything is so incredibly stable on this planet. We have spring, we have autumn, everything goes in the same path. This is how it works. Wrong! This has not been the case for this planet during its existence. And the only reason that we think that, this is a very stable climate world, it's the fact that humanity have not been around for very long. If we go back a couple of million years, the fact is that this planet has been completely covered by snow and ice. If we go back to even more, we will find that the entire planet is covered by ocean because there are no ice caps. There are no North Pole, there are no South Pole, there are no glaciers, nothing. And basically the only very tiny amount of land sticking out of a massive super ocean. If we go back even more, every continent on the planet is stuck together in something called Pangea. So the fact is that our world is changing constantly and will continue to do so. And if we want to survive, we need to figure out that change is part of this planet's process. But climate right now is not changed by nature. It's changed by us. If we look at a graph over, the carbon dioxide, how that has been frequently more and more pushed out into the world system by us, we also see that this graph is directly comparable to what's happening to the climate. When we started to pour out all this carbon dioxide that was trapped in oil pockets underneath the surface and didn't do anything to the climate anymore because it had been removed from the system, when we started to burn that oil and push all the carbon dioxide back out, what we did was that we changed the atmosphere back to a state when the world was a lot hotter than it is today. And the fact is, that makes our ice caps start melting away. And when that happens, well, there is a giant problem with that more or less every human major civilization, major city, major everything is directly connected to the ocean. Water is important for us to grow food. And when the water expands, our fields will get flooded and we won't have any food. And we cannot support animals because animals need food too. The biggest problem for us right now is that we like land that is close to the sea, that is pretty flat, easy to grow stuff on, and we are starting to flood it. So, as I see it, the climate change is all about us. And if we want to survive as a species, we must start thinking, what are we going to do to stop this process? So now when we have figured out, to begin with, we will probably die because we're on top of the food chain, and if the entire ecosystem is going through a collapse, that have happened several times through the Earth's history. We have had about 90% of every life form of the planet being extinct. 90%, even more at certain events. Still, life have survived. There have been microorganisms, there have been small animals, other things that have survived. I mean, all we can see is that enormous apocalyptic event like what happened 65 million years ago when the dinosaurs was wiped out, life survived that too. So life will probably survive, but we won't, because we're on top of everything. We are directly connected to everything else in the ecosystem because we are using the entire ecosystem for our advantage. And when the ecosystem collapses, we will collapse. So we need to be very careful to what we do to this planet. It's that simple. And we are not. With extreme greed and with being so obsessed with this thing we have invented called money, that's not actually worth anything if we don't trust that it's worth something. 90% of the money of the world is just out there in the cloud. Digital numbers that says that we own something. When it comes down to, an apocalypse, it doesn't do anything. It's completely useless. We are very, 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 very obsessed with them. To survive a major issue, we must start to consider the money secondary, because they won't save us when, shit hits the fan. We need to stop burning dead animals and dead plants to power our civilization. We need to figure out something new. And there are massive amounts of energy on this planet. Just consider Iceland. They have the first volcano power plant. We have the ocean. The ocean is moving constantly. Waves! But build something to use those waves to make energy. We already have the technology, but we don't do it because we are stupid. And we have a sun. We have a star that throws energy on us every day, all time. We have major deserts where people, basically, most areas are completely desolate. Well, we could build massive solar power plants. We need to collaborate over the idea of energy. And energy is worth so much more than money. So what we need to do is not to stop our civilization. We need to take it to the next level. We need to stop being idiots about it. We have massive energy reserves on this planet that doesn't involve burning old animals and plants. It's that simple. My name's Dreamklub. I'm out.
Guys, there's a fire in the club. You're supposed to leave.
It's a hot club.
Oh,
Hey,
you guys ready for fun? Oh, yes. Man.
I love the way you dance on that.
Oh, yeah. Like
This is so much better than